I'm very happy to have another Indian with us, young person, though not in India at this time, in Oslo. Right now, we have with us a student, Akshat Jain. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Akshat.
Hi, thank you, Subodhji, for this opportunity. This came as a surprise, but I really appreciate the opportunity to let me share out my thoughts. So basically, I'll start by saying that I'll just introduce myself and then maybe I'll talk about a few things that I find really interesting. So my name is Akshat. I'm from Delhi. I was born and brought up there, did my schooling there and my engineering there. And then after that, I decided to kind of move to a different country. The reason was essentially to figure out uh, what does the world really have, because I really believe I read this somewhere that there is a saying. It's in Hindi, but I can roughly
Yeah,
translate
tell
it.
us in Hindi. Tell us in Hindi.
Yeah. Perfect. So it goes something like this. वो क्या जाने भारत को जो सिर्फ जाने भारत को. And I really think that touched me a lot because uh, I was living in such a bubble because India is such a bubble. Even if you live in Delhi, it's 20 million people, 25 million Delhi NCR, whatever. You live in such a bubble. But when I came to this country, Norway, which has like 5 million people, my part of the city has more people than Norway.
Yes.
And then the proportions really start to hit you, how people live, what do they prioritize in life, how the social democracy works, how are the different cities laid out, how is public transport kind of meant to be an indicator or to be a force for good for the people and that sort of stuff. So that's why I kind of, not because of these reasons, but more of the curiosity around what's going on outside, how can I go out and kind of understand and see the world. And yeah, so that is one of the reason I came to study here in BI. BI is like a business school in Norway, and I'm studying business analytics here as my master's. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm just gonna
So, why did
talk
you
about,
choose Norway?
yes, that's a great question because right now it's snowing outside. It's Easter, but it's still snowing outside, and uh, that people do really ask me why Norway. Even Norwegians ask me. But the reason I chose Norway is very quantitative in a way. Let me walk you over the process.
Sure.
So first, I selected the countries with a higher GDP per capita. So $40,000 was the bare minimum.
Okay.
So that eliminated a lot of South America, Africa, a lot of Asian countries, and such. Then I said I want a city or a country which is walkable. So that eliminated North America,
Yeah.
essentially. I don't want to own a car. It's expensive. I don't like it. Then I wanted a country which, because when I was choosing, there was Russia-Ukraine war. So I understood that oil would be a strategic hedge against basically any other economic losses. So Norway popped out. So that's was like, I don't want to graduate in a recession because I read a study, people who graduated in the US in 2008, 2009, 10, they were severely disadvantaged because of their starting salaries.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Okay, this is quantitatively the best country that I can find. So, Norway it is.
But they admitted you.
Pardon?
They admitted you, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
can't
yes,
just choose. They have to choose you too.
that is true. That is true. I was very fortunate, and the course is also pretty good.
Yeah.
So I got admitted.
All right.
But the thing is, the shortcoming that I really want to talk about is, as I mentioned, the snow. When I realize when you do a quantitative study, you don't think about qualitative factors like the snow outside. Like I understand it's bad, but like it's really bad. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I also got to learn about that. Okay, maybe language and snow is, or maybe shorter days is not a good thing. But then I really want to use this platform to give a call to all Indians that either which way, with all of its shortcomings, coming to Norway was a great decision because I was so out of my comfort zone that I really didn't know anybody here. I just came up because I didn't know anybody here. I could have gone to UK, US, Australia, Singapore, or any other Germany, such countries where they have a great Indian diaspora. But I chose Norway because there wasn't, and I want to be outside my comfort zone. And it really fit. वो क्या जाने भारत को जो सिर्फ जाने भारत को. So that kind of worked out, and yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So coming here, I also started to travel. So traveling is something that I really like because my mother is a travel agent, and we have traveled. Basically, I've traveled to every state of India. Hopefully, I think yeah, I covered almost every state of India, and we have been traveling a lot. My dad travels a lot since he's a consultant as well. So that really kind of puts me in a place where I just want to travel around and learn. So, for example, I'll give you this great anecdote that I learned. So I was in Spain. I was in Madrid and Alicante, and there was these churches around. And I, it's a very weird anecdote, especially in the political environment of India. But then I really realized that 400 years down the line, 500 years down the line, what remains of the civilizational wealth is essentially its monuments and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the things that we really lack in India, or specifically in Delhi, I would say. We have defaced our monuments so badly that we cannot even be really proud of them at this point. I mean, they're amazing works of art, but you go to Taj Mahal and surrounding area is not really well. But if you go to, let's say in Barcelona, and you see the brick church, it's actually different. It hits you in a way that, okay, this is something 400 years ago. They were really a nation that was projecting wealth, power, culture, and that sort of stuff, which I really think is still kind of lacking because we kind of don't understand it in a way. Other thing I learned from traveling was basically learning about social contracts, which was also pretty new to me. So social contract is basically the contract that the citizens of the country has with its government, according to my understanding. And for example, in Norway, people basically didn't want Amazon to come in. So there's no Amazon in Norway, which is, I know it's very weird, but people just decided, you know what, we want retail jobs. We want people to work in these storefronts. We want them to earn $22 an hour, $20 an hour, and we want these jobs to be protected. We don't want a corporation to come in and take the profit pool away. And which was very interesting to me because because most of the governments, the most logical step is you make the products cheaper, you make the economy grow. But Norway, because of its oil wealth and everything, kind of has taken a different approach with their social contract. And which leads me to my other thing that I don't think I discovered it, but I thought about it, that Norway is a high trust society. But when I traveled to Croatia, it's a very low trust society. So these has like two axes on it. So there is trust in people and trust in government. So if you try to map it, so for example, in case of India, um, people don't really trust each other. There's like, for example, if we use Paytm or any other UPI service, you have this box, Paytm per itne rupe prapt hue. You have a proof of service that, okay, this has really happened. So I know the transaction has passed. If you come to Norway, it doesn't matter. If you say it's done, the transaction is done, they will believe you. So people don't trust each other in India. I mean, there could be 1,000 reasons. I don't want to get into it, but it creates friction. This creates friction. For example, if you go to a metro in Oslo, there is no checking gates. You just download the ticket on your phone and you just walk in. There is nobody to check you. You can just walk in, walk out, do whatever you want. But if you go in Delhi or Paris or any other city, essentially in Madrid, you have to first scan the ticket. In Delhi, you have to like do frisking and everything. It creates friction. So if people don't trust each other, it creates a lot of friction, and you need a lot of safe spaces. And to create safe spaces, you need to spend a lot of money. And on the other hand, is the trust in the government. So, for example, what I learned from Germany is people don't really trust their government or their institutions in a way that they don't want to digitize, but they trust their um, government enough to kind of give away all of the taxes. So even though they do everything in cash, Germany still has one of the highest tax reports compared to India, which is still grossly underreported. And because the people just say, oh, why am I paying 30% tax? I really don't trust the government is doing, something that is good for me. So these are the things that I really learned from going outside, traveling, and that's what I want to tell people, that you can kind of realize these things and then apply to an Indian context from a bird's eye view, and which will kind of take you away from all of the narratives that is going in the country. Maybe some people saying, because one of the example, the government reported a 8% growth. I don't see a 8% growth. I mean, you can look around and then there's no consumption. There is no FMCG consumption. There is no retail stores that are reporting growth about 8%. The credit growth is not multiplying of 8%. It's just 12%, 13%, 15%, which is not a good look. So it makes you question inner how can you actually see those, and how can you actually believe those? So uh, uh, that's one of the reason that I recommend people to kind of come out.
Okay. How about the teaching? How do you find that? You talked about the broader picture.
Yeah.
What about your personal teaching? How did you find that?
So let me be kind of very personal with you. In India, when I was doing my engineering, I was not a great student. I mean, at the end, I got a good grade, but then the issue was kind of really, I had to memorize everything, even in my engineering degree, which was not something that I was really happy with. But coming here, it's just the exam is something fun. Like I look forward to, because it's just a project. You have the exam on the first date, on the first lecture, and then you have the whole semester to solve it. And the professor will go through lectures, and every lecture is a key to kind of solve your exam. And which I particularly like. I still remember writing code on pen and paper and giving it for checking. How is this possible? How can a checker be a compiler of code and just read my code through pen and paper? It just doesn't make any sense. If I need to make models, I need to make it on computer. So that is one of the great differences that I found. The other differences is, this is gonna sound kind of mean, but the average, what do you say? People don't want to do as much maths here. They're kind of scared of maths. Because everything, they were given calculators, whatever, and some teachers have to like really tiptoe their way around. Okay, class, this is double integration. Don't get scared about it. It's fine. So then that becomes kind of like, in that respect, I feel like if the cohort would be better equipped with mathematics, we would have learned more. But then that's like a minor thing. I mean, I can't do anything about it.
No.
Yeah.
And are the other students mainly from Norway or they are from elsewhere also?
Right. So usually in my business school, since it's the only private big business school in Norway, it's quite international, and the master's course is only exclusively taught in English, which is a very good thing, because Norwegians kind of are smartening up that business is done in English, and we don't have a great deal of engineers coming out of this country. So either which way, we need to do business in English. So I think that's a really smart move, but the job market hasn't kind of wisened up to it. So that what that has resulted is my school is quite international. On a bachelor's level, it is still mainly Norwegian, but on master's level, I would say 50% are international and 50% are Norwegian.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And does this broaden your horizon, this international aspect?
Actually, yes, because I have so many people from so many nationalities, and it's very interesting in a way that they think. For example, I had work with Chinese nationals, Pakistani nationals, and which, to be fair, I have never even thought of. Like, I would have never thought of working with a Pakistani national or a Chinese national, because we just never have that exchange on our borders. But the way, for example, a Pakistani would think, we were doing this finance project, and they would think of finance or maybe accounting as keeping a lot of what do you say, checks and security so that nothing can be stolen away or siphoned off. Comparative to that, I was like, okay, I mean, there is no incentive to do it in my line of thinking. And in the Chinese way of thinking is the state should, like the third party should be, or there should be a system
Yeah.
above that should take care of it. So
Yeah.
that was pretty interesting to me, whereas I would want a more decentralized way to
Mm,
do it.
mm,
And there were people from all over the world, which I really kind of like. And I'll get to learn a lot of not languages, but like phrases and words and foods because I'm vegetarian. So they have to cook a very special dish that only they eat. I don't know, sometimes very rarely, or but that's something that I get to experience. So it's more holistic because academically, I think now you can just learn everything what Harvard teaches on online, you know. So it's more holistic thing. It's more of a long-term thing.
So how do you manage being a vegetarian?
That even a Jen. So I do eat onions and garlic,
Yeah.
but yeah, so being vegetarian is surprisingly easy in Norway because they are very strict about the. So for example, if you go to any place to eat, even it's a canteen or a buffet, they would have these plates where they would literally write down every allergy from mustard seeds to eggs to anything. And they are very cognizant of the fact that you are accommodated. In the company that I work, it's called, I'm doing a part-time job there. It's called Opera, the mobile browser and the PC
Yeah.
browser. It's a very old browser.
Yeah.
It's Norwegian, actually. I didn't know that.
No, yeah, I know that, right. But it's not
But
kind of major anymore, you know. It's
yeah. But I mean, I would like to say we are gaining market share back. So that's nice,
all right.
especially after the new ruling by European Union, where iPhone users can kind of select their own browsers and people are free to make, their own browsers instead of Apple's Safari and skin it on their own way.
Yeah.
But in that building, most of the food every day is vegetarian. And then you can kind of take the chicken and everything else from a salad bar. So the
Yeah.
main hot dish becomes vegetarian. So
Yeah.
for me, it becomes
Mm.
rather easy comparatively compared to other countries I've been to. And there's this great culture of veganism. I mean, Oslo is not hot on veganism, it's still vegetarian friendly, but other countries, like for example, Germany, great for vegan food.
Mm.
So I get back.
You don't have to be forced to eat fish, right? I mean, you
Oh,
think
no,
of
no, no.
Norway, you think fish. No, it is.
Yes, yes. So much salmon here.
Yeah, that is well. Okay. Well, whether you've already told us about. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's fine.
Weather and the thing is, I haven't seen like the great northern lights. Like, I've seen flares. I've been
Yeah,
here for almost 2 years. I haven't seen like the grand
but you
northern
haven't
lights.
gone up north then.
No, I have actually. I've been to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah,
There's the city called Tromsø,
yeah.
and I went there for seeing the northern lights. I was there for 3 nights. Every day it snowed. Every night it snowed. It just kept snowing.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and the day later, I was told by the tour operator there was full northern lights with the reds and the violets, and so
Yeah.
that was quite annoying.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
any tips you have for younger people?
I would say I would say this in a way because I see a lot of young people going to their bachelor degrees and expect that they would be spoon-fed. I see a lot of reports like, these engineers, they are unemployable. And I find like you have 4 years. It takes 6 months to code. I the access to internet is cheap. You have the courses, you have the libraries online. What is stopping you? Kind of. That's my question because I really think you have to take progress into your own hand because the universities are not going to change. That's my message number one. And my message number two is if you could afford it, because I mean, I can understand like only even going outside, it's like only the top 5% of the Indians would have the money or the resources even to take a loan to go outside the country. So if you could go outside, I would highly recommend it. Or if there's anything, any scholarship, grant, or anything that you can apply to, please do it. You would be a changed human being.
Okay. And does your family support all this, or do they want you back?
Ah, it's an interesting question. So before coming to Norway, I wanted to stay here for the longer time. You know, my path is clear. I will get a permanent residence, I'll get a citizenship, and I'll call this land my home. But the moment I arrived, after living here for a few years, I realized it's not my country. I mean, I cannot be a Norwegian. I can try to be a Norwegian, and there are several Indians who have done it, but that's not my country, and I will never be the Norwegian identity because I don't resonate with it. I just don't understand some of their culture, especially like jumping in the frozen lake or
Snow.
something.
Yeah, from the sauna.
Yeah, of
Run out
course. Yeah,
from the sauna, right?
I did try it. I did try it on -5 degrees and it was snowing. I did jump. And then I realized, no, never again.
Okay.
But then there are other things as well, which makes me realize I want to go back. I want to go back, not right now, but in a few years where I can skip the lower levels of Indian job market and kind of go back at a place where I can be more in control, hopefully. And which I realized after coming here. Otherwise, I would be happy staying.
Hmm. Good.
And my parents, I mean, they would always want me back. I mean,
All
yeah.
right. All right. Anything else you want to add here?
Um, in general, I just want to say, seek out. I mean, that's very like a hippie advice, right? Seek out experiences, seek out new things. But then that is really true. I didn't really realize how valuable experiences are.
Hmm.
I For me, for as an Indian, that is also shaped in competition. You have to do this competition. You have to be in top this, top that, top this, top that. When I saw Norwegians, and for example, I had to submit a report on Friday, and I was so scared that I need to submit on Friday. But my boss said, "Oh, you can do it on Tuesday. It's fine. I mean, the world is not going to stop. It's fine. It's not a problem. You can live a little." And that thing really hit me.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I realized, I mean, just try to live a little. It's not always corporate. It's not always politics. It's not always competition. There are multiple facets. We are lucky to be humans to experience it. So it's very happy advice, but I really want people to just look around and go outside.
So when you complete your course, you think you can get a job there?
Yeah, so I am promised a contract here. The market is not very nice. I mean, I really hope the Fed cuts the interest rate so I can negotiate a better offer. But for what it is right now, I think the offer is quite decent for a year, and then I'll see how it goes forward. But yeah, the job situation here is not very good, especially if you don't speak Norwegian.
Okay, but you don't.
Oh, no.
No, you can't speak Norwegian. All right, so it'll be a tough time for you, I guess.
No, for me, I'm happy. I think I found
No,
my
meaning
niche.
when you look for a job,
Yes,
or
yes, in
you
the
think
future.
your grades will overcome the other issues.
No, no. So I see, I have a job offer. My grades, it's not gonna help because I know multiple people who get an A and they don't get a job because there are very few English speaking companies. But the what I really won't get right now is like a great salary package
Okay,
because I'm just lucky to have a job.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else you want to add here?
I think I spoke everything I need. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Then let's end it and let's say bye to the viewers. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till
Yeah.
then. Bye, everybody.